Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Everton show. Well, it might be a new look Anfield these days, but it still proved to be our nemesis. And although the Theatre of Dreams was much better, we still had a nightmare finish. It was just another topsy-turvy week in the life of Evertonians. To discuss the two games and much more, we've got Stuart with us this week. We've also got one of Ronald Koeman's most trusted lieutenants, his fitness coach, Kluitenberg. Jan, thanks very much for joining us on the Everton show. There must be a real feel-good factor down at Finch Farm at the moment. Everybody must enjoy coming into work every day.
Yeah, of course, everybody's happy to train. And I mean it, because the players be on time. Everybody is working in a good atmosphere. And I have to say, all the staff around it's really nice to work with.
It is a terrific place at the moment, a real good feel-good factor about Finch Farm. Well, Stuart and the health and fitness experts on the same sofa. Bit of a clash of cultures, I think. We shall see. We'll also see this little lot as well.
Yeah, it means everything to get me chance in the team and to manage to stay in it now, and me playing every week. It's unbelievable feeling.
I'd tell him to pull his socks up, mate, but I mean, I'm old school. No, I'm sure the manager doesn't mind, as long as he keeps the standard up.
As I say, a great group in terms of it being a great group to work with and with real quality. So we're really just wanting them to achieve the maximum, which is to win the league.
It's difficult, but being in a position where you know the opposition and you've got to plan for that, and that's what we at Everton will be doing.
I think they are, like last year, really strong again and with a lot of confidence. And we know we lost the FA Cup game against them. It's always difficult.
Right, Premier League games don't come much bigger, do they, than Liverpool and Manchester United away from home. But in between the hectic period on the pitch, we enjoyed a really significant moment off it this week when Tom Davies committed his future to Everton Football Club. The teenager has exploded onto the Premier League scene this season, and he couldn't be happy with life just at the moment.
Yeah, it's a great feeling again to sign a 5-year contract, and it's brilliant. Yeah, I'm just over the moon with being able to do it.
From how you've come at the start of the season, just what does it mean for you to play for this club?
Yeah, it means everything to get me chance in the team and to manage to stay in it now, and me playing every week. It's unbelievable feeling, and I don't think it's actually sunk in yet, but it's just great to be around the squad and playing home and away.
The club has such a proud history of bringing in young players and bringing them into the first team, so to see that kind of board of the players that have come through the academy, to be part of that, how does that feel?
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, Everton do bring a lot of young players through, and that was something I've always had inside and believed in that I could achieve with this club. So for me to actually get here and be playing in the first team now is fantastic. Yeah.
As a supporter of the club growing up, who are the players that you looked up to that came through?
There was plenty, but when I was watching it was Mikel Arteta. He was the one I used to watch, but as I got older, it was watching Ross come through and thinking that could be me. And like Wayne Rooney and Jack Rodwell, there's lots of players that I've aspired to be like, and I'm just so grateful that I've got an opportunity now to try and do it my way. Yeah.
Do you feel a responsibility as an example of someone who can come through the youth system to get into the first team, that you're almost a beacon to others who are hoping to do the same? Yeah,
I think like I did with the players I looked up to and seeing them coming through, I think people at the academy can see it as achievable, and it's with the hard work and dedication, and you can reach what you want to do like I have done, and hopefully I can inspire a few of the younger lads to do the same.
Graham, it is terrific news that a player like Tom Davies is happy enough to commit his future to Everton Football Club, having, as I said, exploded onto the Premier League scene this season.
Well, he has, and he's deservedly got a new 5-year contract. I'm sure he was very quick to sign that. But he deserves it because he's come onto the scene, as you say. He's got that youthful ambition about him. He's got plenty of energy and drive that he's brought into the team. It's been nice for him as well that we've been in a good period as well in terms of results and performance levels. And that always helps it, you know, for a young player to come into the side when the side is doing well. So plenty of good years ahead of Tom, we hope.
Jan, do you have to work differently with somebody like Tom Davies, who's only 18 years of age and maybe still growing? Do you have to work differently with him than you would do with a Jagielka or a Gareth Barry?
Yeah, there's a difference, of course. Of course, we start always with the whole team before we go outside. In the training sessions, we have sometimes different things to do, but also in the gym. Tom is a young boy, for instance. They grow up here with a lot of running, and he can run box to box, but sometimes it's good to do more with the ball, save your energy till the end of the season or end of the match. If you take, for instance, Gareth Barry or Phil Jayoka, really professional football players, they know what they have to do. An example is end of the training. Everybody likes to work extra, but sometimes I have to send them inside. Sometimes they don't like me. But we have to take care for the younger boys because it's new, it's a long season. And the way we like to train is to keep them fresh till the end of the match, till the end of the season.
I can't believe the players don't like the fitness coach. I'm not having that. Right, now it's fair to say that Ray Hall knows a good young footballer when he sees one. Ray was the academy director for many years and oversaw the development and subsequent progress of a whole host of players, Michael Ball, Franny Jeffers, Jack Rodwell, and of course Wayne Rooney amongst them. You can now add Tom Davies to that list, but as Ray explains, the youngster has plenty of reason to thank the persistence of Alan Whittle, his 1969-70 title-winning uncle.
Alan used to bore the pants off me every week. Ray, you need to sign our Tom. Ray, you need to sign our Tom. And the day we did it, I was absolutely delighted because I could watch the game in peace. So now I don't know whether he knows that and whether it's... But when he signed it, there was something different. But he joined a group that was very good. And I mean, probably one of the best groups we've had here at the football club. These boys would be 19, 20 now. And it was actually difficult for him to get in the side. And could have put a lot of young players off. Mum, Dad, I'm not getting a game, I want to go somewhere where I am. But no, he dug in and little story. Kind of, I did a parents' evening when Tom was 14 and his mum and dad and said to Tom, does it kind of deter you or upset you a little bit, you know, when you see one or two of the boys moving into teams ahead of you? He said they won't be moving into teams ahead of me when I'm 19.
We watched some footage of Tom when he was probably about that age, 14, and you can almost put it side by side with him playing now in some of the movements and the way that he moves the ball and moves on the ball. What does that say, I suppose, about how he's retained his skills but obviously developed it into a Premier League environment? I'm
a firm believer that a lot of the development of a player goes on probably prior to 14, and the moves and the way you play are probably set down more before that age. Talent will get you here to the club, and then it's up to the player more than anybody. We provide the vehicle for him to become better. And I don't know what happens from 14 to 18, but some boys will just keep moving, and they're the ones that you think, wow, other boys kind of, you know, do it slower, and maybe they're ones that you need to look at a lot later. But Tom moved probably from maybe 4th or 5th in the pecking order at 14 to being in our first team at 19. I'd tell him to pull his socks up, mate, but I mean, I'm old school. No, I'm sure the manager doesn't mind, as long as he keeps the standard up.
Tom Davies, as Ray says, does seem to have his own style, doesn't he, Graham? Nothing wrong with that?
No, he's an individual. Good for him. In a team game, there's nothing wrong with it. I like Tom. He's a terrific lad off the park as well. So I think that's important. And as Ray Hall mentioned there, to have good people around you when you've got those young years, from when you're 14 to 18, is vitally important, because there's an awful lot of difference between a 14-year-old player to an 18-year-old player. And Ray knows his players inside out. He's a very mature 18-year-old, isn't he?
Yeah, I have to say it looks like sometimes he's years in the team. But on the other side, in a lot of things you see also he's a very young player. But I think he's a good example for the players from the academy also. And as a person, he's really normal behaviour. That's good.
He is a terrific guy, but I'm not sure he'll thank us for using that particular photograph. And that's it for part one of this week's programme, but we've got a fascinating part two for you. We've got reaction from a night where we went oh so close at Old Trafford, and we'll learn how a former Dutch footballer became a referee, then jacked it all in to become a fitness coach. Welcome back to part 2. Well, one of the many enjoyable aspects of this programme is really getting to know a lot more about our studio guests. And alongside us this week is a man with a terrific football story. Jan Kluitenberg's journey to Goodison Park is a little bit different to anyone else I've ever encountered. Tell us how you started in football in the first place all those years ago back in Holland.
It starts in my period, the moment I start with walking. What I hear is I slept always with a ball. There was a big park and a big school, and every Monday morning somebody from the school came to our house and he said, "Who broke our window?" And I kicked a lot of balls when I was young, and from that period I loved the ball already. I grew up, there was for me one dream. In the 70s you had Johan Cruyff, Neeskens, Van Hanegem, Zuurbier. And that was my dream. I didn't have the talent, I have to say, but I played every weekend. Enjoyed it a lot. But my problem was I talk too much sometimes. I kick too much, not always against the ball, but also against the opponent.
We don't mind that, do we?
So in that period you don't have really yellow cards, but sometimes they sent me off the pitch already when I was young. But still I loved it. But finally, when I came on an age on 17 years old, 18 years, my problems were really my ankles. And I had to make a choice. The doctor said, you have to make a choice. I never forget the last match what I played. There was a referee. He became later on my friend, but I took the whistle out of his mouth. I said, it's better to stop. And that was my moment to step in the new career of referee.
So you went from abusing the referees and taking whistles out of the mouths to being a referee yourself?
Yeah, it was. I was sent it by my father. He was a referee, and he was talented. But he said the attitude what you have on the pitch, you have to change that. So he said, try to go to a youth game. It was under 10, I think. And in that time there was somebody from the Dutch FA, and he saw some talent in me. I had the knowledge of football, the way I had to walk, and what I didn't like was really a schoolmaster. I talked with the players already, and that was for me a little bit the moment to start a little bit more serious thinking about refereeing, and it took some couple of years. And yeah, I went fast in that period. So the early 90s, I was already in the top in Holland. The only problem was for the board of refs, they like to change because they think the way they handle the players at that time, that's the way. But it's more up to me what I think, my ideas about that. And it took me 2 years. I was really in the top in Holland. I had some games in the second division, and I was linesman. Now, for me, there was one thing what I really don't like. It's linesmen. So and you can't tell them. Then in my third year, I had an operation again on my ankles, and at that time I thought my fitness level has to be up, and the only thing who can handle that is myself, because I understood more than the coaches what I had at that time. And my last year in the top in Holland in the FA was for me the first step to the board and said, listen, I'm now 3 years in. The first year I was number 1, but I was very young. So I said, I need games. If you don't give me the games, I will specialize myself more in other things. Well, already in my mind. And the first 2 matches were again on the line, and that was for me the moment to say, I do it on my way. And I stopped with it.
Did you ever fancy becoming a referee, Graham? I doubt it very much, but...
No, I've never thought of being a referee at all. It'd be interesting, you know, what do you think of the standard of refereeing over here in England, Jan?
Now, I have to say there's a lot of things going on now, of course, and I have, first of all, respect for the referees. It's a very, very difficult situation right now. The level is up, the physical part, there's a lot of contacts. In my time, when I was there in the top, there was only one camera, and I talked too much with the players. And that's a little bit what I miss nowadays, also in Holland, but also maybe a little bit in England. Sometimes they're a little bit far from the situation. I hope sometimes what I want to say to the refs is get a little bit the feeling about the way the games are handling now. It's very quick. I have to say at that time I was really sportsman. I trained 4 or 5 times a week, and I want to be on the situation. Sometimes a little bit too far. If they talk with the player, it's sometimes a minute. And sometimes I have a feeling, talk with them, give them a sign one time, then it's over. And then you get also respect. But there's also a lot of cameras around the pitch nowadays. So it's really difficult for them to see how the situation is. But finally, at the end of the match, I will normally go to them, shake hands, and thanks for helping. And well, finally you see each other in a couple of weeks again. So, yeah.
It's a fascinating story. We'll speak a lot more very, very shortly. There's plenty more to come from Jan and Diamond in this very section of the programme. But let's have a look now at Tuesday night's game against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Only once in the last 24 years have we returned down the M62 with 3 points. But this time around, it really did look as though we'd cracked it, only for the curse of the self-styled Theatre of Dreams to strike again. Here's what Ronald Koeman and his players made of it all.
Maybe before the game you sign for 1 point, but not what happened tonight. I think we did really a good job. We had a lot of aggression on the pitch. We controlled the game, 1-0 up, and then you know you need to defend a lot. I think we had great defending, and maybe some mistakes in counter-attacking tonight because we got a lot of space. And I think we were not clinical enough in our last ball tonight. If not, we can score the second goal. And it's really painful not to get the 3 points tonight in the last minute, the penalty. The right decision, but it's really hard to take.
We do feel it's 2 points dropped, especially conceding so late. But it's something we need to learn from. We put a decent performance in, but we'd have liked the 3 points.
Coming away to Old Trafford, it's always going to be tough, but I feel like we could have just, in second half, we kind of sat back and let them bring the game to us. Obviously, they were disappointed with that. We would have liked to keep the momentum going forward, but it's just one of those things. It takes a couple of games just to get back into the pace of things and set up, but I feel like I'm comfortable. It's something I can do, and I'm just ready for the challenges ahead, and hopefully we'll pick up as many points as we possibly can.
I think we showed everything, even with the injuries what we have. The team showed a lot of confidence and spirit and belief in the game, and okay, that's really disappointed that they don't get the 3 points because they deserved it for everything what they did tonight.
Just finally, short of defenders already. Ashley Williams now suspended. Have you still got your boots?
Yeah, it will be okay, but for every problem you have a solution, and that's no problem. But we know we don't have really a lot of available, but it's also about the academy. Tonight we had 7 players in the squad of 18, under 22 or younger, and that's future. But sometimes you need a little bit more experience. But we know we have some problems, but we will resolve that kind of problems for the weekend.
That's the reaction there from the game against Manchester United during the week. But I just want to pick up on your story, Jan, where we left off. You've gone from pulling a whistle out of a referee's mouth to being a referee yourself. You decide that's not really for you. Yeah. Why health and fitness?
That was always my dream, to be a specialist in football. I don't have the skills for a football coach. But I thought after my operation, my rehab, I did by myself. And I think I can be, maybe for the future, at that time it was not really a specialism, but I thought in the future that will be really a specialism. So first of all I start to train referees, but I did it for a short period for 1 year, and then later on I followed a course for 3 years to be really a specialist in football. And I started in the academy of Vitesse Arnhem, and I started with 3 hours in the week, but later on, I believed in my way of working, and the moment Ronald Koeman started as head coach in Vitesse Arnhem, he asked me some questions about the fitness level of the team, and I arranged some tests for him. And the thing what he said is, if you can help me and you do the test on a good way, you can stay. If not, then I don't need you. And that's a little bit the style of us. We are open. We like to have the maximum out of a player. And I think, I've got at that time already a little bit of experience in the academy, and I use that. And I love my job.
We'll have to get you to try and work with Graham and myself, I think, when this show's finished. We'll see how we get on. Okay, we've reached the halfway point in this week's show. We'll have a short break right now, and in part 3 we'll bring you a typically eclectic mix as John Ebrell previews the under-23s crunch game next Monday, and David Unsworth gets some cookery tips. We'll see you shortly. Welcome back. Now, for those of you watching the Everton show on Friday night at 7 o'clock, there's a football match going on right now that could be of huge significance. Manchester City under-23s are hosting Derby County, and if the Rams get any sort of result, then Everton under-23s could win the Premier League 2 title on Monday night. Tottenham Hotspur are the visitors to Goodison Park, and assistant manager John Ebrell is looking forward to what could be a memorable occasion.
Yeah, looking forward to it a lot. The intensity in training is as we would want at this stage of the season. The players seem to be really looking forward to the game, and obviously as coaching staff we are as well.
Obviously it's a huge game. I'm sure you're trying to protect the players from all that, but has it been spoken about amongst the staff just how big a game it potentially could be?
Not really. I think what we've looked at is just making sure that everyone's ready. As I say, you know, we've played the right way all season, and really each game now we want to make sure that we keep playing that way, and then we think the results should take care of themselves after that.
Do we know much about Tottenham Hotspur?
We do some work on all the teams that we play, so that's been our role the last week or so, and we've had a good look, and you know, they're a good side. They're not doing great in the table, but we know if they come and play to their maximum, that'll give us a real test. We need to be ready.
The Premier League 2 title is in our own hands, and with 3 games to go, you can't ask for more than that, can you?
No, and we talked about that this morning in the room, and yeah, we know if we go and achieve everything we can in the last 3 games, win all 3, we've won the league, and that's a good place to be, as you say. But it is about managing that and making sure that we don't get too far ahead of ourselves and win on Monday.
It's a tough running for the lads, isn't it? 3 games.
Every game's tough in this league. You know, you look at each game. We played Derby County, pretty much bottom of the league in the last game. Yeah, and we had to be at our absolute best second half there to turn a 2-1 into a 3-2. So, you know, you can't look at any game and say, well, yeah, that might be easier than others. It's just difficult, same as first team level.
They do seem a level-headed sort of bunch, the lads.
Brilliant. You know, as I say, it's my first full season working with them, so I'm still learning about all the players. But one thing that struck me is how focused they are, how competitive they are with each other. And then in training that comes out on a daily basis, and then ultimately where you want it, when the chips are down in matches, that's when it's coming out.
They deserve something from this season, the lads, don't they?
We're desperate for that, really, for them. You know, it's very much, we see this as as I say, a great group in terms of it being a great group to work with and with real quality. So we're really just wanting them to achieve the maximum, which is to win the league.
By the way, we want as many supporters inside Goodison Park as possible on Monday night. The action starts at 7 o'clock, and admission is free to all season ticket holders and for Everton members. Visit evertonfc.com for more details. Diamond, the Premier League 2 title is in our own hands. Still a bit of way to go, but you can't ask for more than that at this stage of the season.
No, the boys have done terrifically well to get themselves in the position that they're in. It's been slightly frustrating for them over the last couple of weeks, what with the international break and what have you. There's been a significant period from the last game to, you know, lining up against Tottenham on Monday. So it's given the lads a little bit of chance to sit back and focus, and then David and John obviously will make sure they're working hard and are revved up, ready to go at Goodison Park on Monday, because that'll be a great occasion for them. We saw last time when we played Southampton at Goodison, And what do we have, 5,000–6,000 people in the ground? You can see the difference in the lift it gives the players.
Is it good that the game's at Goodison and not Southport?
I think so, yeah. I think the players get an extra, you know, buzz out of playing under the lights, especially at Goodison Park. That's always a special occasion, but it's also good for Tottenham as well. So there's a flip side to it as well. I mean, the Tottenham lads will look forward to going to Goodison as opposed to a ground like Southport. But I'm confident that David and John will have the lads in the right frame of mind and we can get the result.
How closely do you work on a fitness level with the under-23s, Jan, if at all?
Now we try to follow them much as we can. Of course, I've got sometimes small meetings with David Flower or David Unsworth, even if it's just a little bit about the players individual. We try to give them an idea how we train, because sometimes it's important if Ronald likes young players, and if they are involved in our sessions, then it's good to realize that they already understand some more about pass and drills or position games. And of course we are always interested in young players. Sometimes we train a little bit on the same time, but we talk about the whole team, and when we have the possibilities, we also like to see the games.
There must be an excitement amongst the lads, Graham, because they're within touching distance of the title, but Unsy and John Ebrell seem to be doing well by just keeping a lid on it.
Yeah, I think that's been a secret. I mean, I've seen a lot of under-23 football and not just our lads, you know, some other games as well. I think the big difference between the way David and John set our players up, that we play with in intensity, and it's good to see, and it's the same exactly what Jan, Ronald and Erwin want from the first team. Some press high up the pitch, you know, put pressure on the opponents at every opportunity, pass forward when we can, and David and John do exactly the same in the under-23s. It's a fine line, isn't it? It's a difficult one because ultimately you want from the under-23s players to push into the first team squad like we've had, but it's also very nice for them to win the league at the end of the day as well. So we want them to be in a winning habit and we want them to win trophies as well.
We certainly do, and don't forget we want as many of you at Goodison Park as well on Monday night. Well, if David Unsworth is feeling the pressure of being top of Premier League 2 table, it certainly isn't showing. Next week, Unsy is taking on Leon Osman and Peter Reid in an ultimate chef cooking competition, all in aid of raising vital funds for the under-23s Home is Where the Heart Is campaign. So this week, the under-23s coach has been along to the venue for the big event, the Pullman Hotel, to meet their chefs and get some handy hints on how he can finish top of the kitchen table.
I've come down to the Pullman today to have a look at the kitchen, to meet the chef, the head chef who's working alongside me in the event, and to get a little head start in front of Ozzy and Reedy. How am I going to win the... You'll
be fine. Say fine.
Oh, good, good.
So, do you want to have a look at it?
I'd love to, thank you. It's a real joint effort from everybody. It's not just mine, it's not just the communities, it's all the players as well, and they've taken responsibility from the start with this project. So it'll be nice to have them around. It'll be nice that they'll be doing as much work as the three chefs as well. But no, it's a real together project from everybody in the under-23, so it'd be nice to share that with them. Peter Reid's doing the dessert, I'm doing the main course, and Leon's doing the starter. Yeah.
We'll start on starter first.
Okay.
So Leon will be...
My cooking skills are okay. You know, I cook when I can. I'm adequate, but these guys are the professionals, so I'll be doing as I'm told on the night. The most importantly, it's a great cause. This project has really taken off, and it's just incredible to see so many people getting involved in it, you know, raising money, donating money for us. It'll be a great night. We'll have a giggle along the way. Hopefully serve up some edible food for everybody. But most importantly, it's a great cause.
Hopefully we won't get any veggies.
I hope there's no veggies coming.
Yeah, you get that.
You really know you're doing it for the right reasons because everybody's getting involved and it's really taken off. And you know, I can't wait for the day that we can, you know, walk into a house, open the door, walk into the house and house these young adults, young children, because the need is there for us to do it, and we've always got to come back to the reason why we're doing it, and it's because it needs to be done, and that's so important.
Well, tickets for that event are still available, by the way, priced at £68 each, including entertainment, an arrival drink, and of course, your 3-course meal cooked by Unsy, Reedy and Ozzy. Head to evertonfc.com/ultimate chef for full details. Diamond, you're going to be there on the night. You looking forward to it?
I am looking forward to it. You know, if you'd said to me, pick out one lad who's going to do the main course, I'd have gone for Unzi. He looks like a main course man, doesn't he? But I'm sure it'll be edible, and I'm sure the lads are all looking forward to it as well. And obviously, it goes without saying, it's for the Home is Where the Heart Is campaign. So, you know, get yourselves along there. It'll be a good night.
It should be a good night. But on a serious side, Jan, how important is diet in football? Because it never used to be.
No, but if you see what kind of intensity we train, what kind of intensity you play, of course, that's a very important part. We have some specialists in the club. We have good chefs, and our schedule of the week. I discuss it with the nutrition part because once in a week we have a really tough session, and they need other food than in a normal regular session or in a recovery session. So what we can do is we can bring the best during the period they are on Finch Farm. Outside of Finch Farm, we also advise players, even in cooking lessons at home. But we have really good specialists for that, so it's really, really, really important nowadays. Yeah.
It has changed, hasn't it, Graham? Unmistakably.
Oh, of course it has. I mean, the game evolves on a regular basis. I mean, the difference from when we were playing, if you like, you know, 15, 20 years ago, is that everybody was still doing the same things then, so we were all on a level playing field. Nowadays, it's totally different. As Jan touched on there, the intensity in which they train and play is probably greater now. The diet's, you know, far more important. And no, it's good. And Jan's absolutely right. I mean, the food that comes out of Finch Farm, it's 5-star stuff. It's brilliant. It really is.
And you'd know.
And me and Snods normally just pop down a couple of times a week for our lunch.
Very quickly, what's your speciality dish?
I'd have to go spag bowl. Spag bowls, I know it's a bit, you know, standard, but a little splash of Worcester sauce just gives it to another level, does.
I'll take your word for that. And that's it for part 3 of this week's programme. Coming up after the break, we'll get the inside story on Leicester City's interim manager Craig Shakespeare from a man who knows him as well as anybody, our own Steve Walsh. And of course, we'll get Ronald Koeman's take on the visit of the Premier League champions on Sunday. Welcome back. Now, back in February, the Premier League champions Leicester City slipped into the relegation zone. In an attempt to stop the rot, the Foxes board sacked Claudio Ranieri, and although there was an outcry down at the King Power, his replacement Craig Shakespeare has overseen 6 straight wins that have lifted Leicester to 10th position in the table and the quarter-finals of the Champions League. So just who is Craig Shakespeare and what has made him so successful? We asked our own Director of Football, Steve Walsh, who of course helped Leicester City to the title last season.
I think he's quite inspirational in his delivery. Always was. He's a very good coach, and obviously the players like him, and performing at the best of their ability at the moment. He's very, very knowledgeable. I think he tells the players the sensible things to do. He makes it clear to them. He makes it simple. And breaks things down into the parts of the jobs that he expects them to do, and he expects them to deliver.
Last season, that fantastic season that Leicester had, how big an impact did Craig have then on the title-winning campaign?
He had an immense part to play in what happened last year, as did we all. We were a good team on the pitch, but we're also a good team off the pitch as well. And Craig certainly played his part in that. That's no doubt.
It was a difficult start to the season for Leicester. Were you surprised by the form they found themselves in before Craig took over?
At the beginning of the season, then I must admit I am quite surprised and shocked that they didn't get off to a better start and didn't continue to that upward. I think it was always going to be difficult because they had an awful lot of other things to think about. Champions League, for instance. And obviously the 2 cup competitions, they knocked us out of the FA Cup, so they had extra games and pressure with regard to that, on top of the Premier League form. So it was always going to be a big ask for them, but I always thought in my own mind that if they finished in the top 10 and then qualified for the group, from the group stages into the knockout part of the European Champions League, I thought that would be success. And who says that they can't actually achieve that?
The revival under Craig has coincided with Jamie Vardy rediscovering his best form. How do you go about stopping someone who's got his pace and movement?
It's difficult, but being in a position where you know the opposition, then you've got to plan for that, and that's what we at Everton will be doing. We know what to expect, and we're going to try and counteract that, and then concentrate on our own game so that we get the favourable result that everybody wants at this side of the fence.
And I guess it'll be a difficult one for you because you have your Everton hat on Sunday, but would it be nice to welcome Craig to Goodison Park as a manager to catch up and talk about everything he's achieved in these first few weeks?
It'll be nice to do that, but at the end of the day, we want to beat them. The rivalry's there, we want to beat them.
Darren, it's been a strange sort of season for Leicester City, but undoubtedly they're coming to Goodison Park at the weekend as the informed team in the Premier League.
Yeah, very much so. Another tough game awaits us. We've got a terrific record though at Goodison Park, so they'll find it difficult as well. But Craig Shakespeare has certainly been a major part in turning Leicester's season round. I think it's been a difficult one for them, as you mentioned. And I actually felt sorry for the board of directors of Leicester and the chairman there because, you know, let's be honest, a few players down tools earlier on in the season, and it must have been a really, really gut-wrenching decision to have to sack Claudio Ranieri. But at the end of the day, you've got to stay in that Premier League. You can't be the champions and then disappear out of the Premier League. You've got a duty of care to your supporters and the football club as a whole. So, unfortunately, for all the wrong reasons, a change was needed.
It is a results business. While we've got you here, Jan, if I can just change track completely. Seamus Coleman, a horrific injury, and everybody obviously thinking about Seamus at the moment because his season's wrecked. Will you be going to see him?
Yeah, it's of course in the program difficult, but we will go next week with the coach. I will go on our day off to him, to visit him. That's at least we can do something for him. We like to show our face to him, and yeah, a very sad situation for him, of course, and for his family, and of course for the team, but especially also for the fans, because his work rate is enormous. On the pitch, off the pitch, he's a great person. He's an example for a lot of young players also. I really love him, the way he's training and the way he's playing.
We've seen pictures of him on his crutches over in Killybegs in Ireland, so he's got to be really careful now more than ever what he puts into his body, what he eats and drinks, hasn't he?
Yeah, of course. Last week already somebody from the nutrition went to him with somebody from the medical department. But one thing, Seamus knows his own body, and I really not afraid because he knows really what's needs to come back. And of course, sometimes you need a good lunch, good meal to recover.
Dread to think what would happen if me and you were left in Ireland for a few weeks to our own devices, Diamond. Okay, it's Everton versus Leicester City at Goodison Park on Sunday afternoon. In reality, I suppose the champions were dethroned a long time ago, but as we say, they are coming to Merseyside at the weekend as the form team in the Premier League. Back in January, the Blues were knocked out of the FA Cup by the Foxes, and while Ronald Koeman knows full well this is another challenging fixture, the Dutchman has revenge on his mind.
I hope. We need a good result at home. We like to keep the momentum at home. We know Leicester is on a good run. Back what Leicester was, changed the manager. I think they are like last year, really strong again and with a lot of confidence. And we know we lost the FA Cup game against them. It's always difficult because it's always a team it's really difficult to beat with some really individual strengths, but a physically strong defensive team will be tough. Of course, we feel some confidence to play at home, but it's always up to yourself. Prepare yourself, prepare the team, and confidence is good to play, but you need more than 100% focused in every game, even at home or away. You need that to give your level of performance.
You touched on it before, but we can't forget they are the champions. What have you made of their revival in recent weeks?
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult to explain why now Leicester is back and why they struggled in the beginning of the season is difficult. I think it can be a part of motivation of the players. You want something, then to show again it's more difficult, and maybe that was one of the reasons that they weren't on the level what everybody expected. But at this time, I think it looks like that what Leicester was strong, Vardy scoring goals, Mahrez back on his level, and sometimes it's difficult to explain why, and it's not all about. I don't believe in sacking managers then, but you need to see and to understand that Shakespeare is doing a really good job when he took over the first team.
Graham, the performance at Old Trafford earlier this week was vastly improved. It was a good performance. We need to now take that in to the home game with Leicester.
Yeah, we do. You know, we can't let a couple of setbacks, you know, ruin what has been a very good period over the last 3 or 4 months. So it's a chance to try and get a momentum going again against Leicester in front of a home crowd. I think first half, especially against Manchester United, we played some terrific stuff. And obviously the boys will feel a little bit hard done by that we didn't see it out. But still a positive result coming out of Old Trafford against a team that are pushing for the top 4.
Goodison Park, our former Goodison Park, Jan, has been terrific. Do you enjoy the ambience and the atmosphere of the home games at Goodison?
Yeah, it's more or less always sold out. If the team is really playing well, you feel the atmosphere in the stadium. Sometimes, I think, to be honest, they can start a little bit sometimes to push it on the pitch to the players. But overall, I have to say, if you play home, but even if you play away, it's great. And you feel the fans are really, really proud of Everton.
And the punters really enjoyed the performance at Old Trafford. They enjoyed the intensity, Graham, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, they made plenty of noise. And it's simple because you're playing good football, you're putting crosses in the box, you're creating opportunities, you're getting about people and making tackles, etc. Evertonians love that side of the game. And they'll always be on your side if you have pride in wearing that shirt, simple as that.
Now, Jan, I'm not sure you're aware of the massive sporting event that's going on Merseyside this weekend, the running of the Grand National. It's the biggest horse race in the country. Diamond, very quickly, who would you fancy in the Grand National?
I'm going to go one for Arthur this year, Daz. Arthur Chance, I think.
I know you've seen the list of runners, Jan. Who are you going to go for?
The Last Samurai. I'm a specialist in it, so he will be winning.
Let's hope so. And that's just about it for this week's programme. What a week for Everton. The Merseyside derby, a trip to Old Trafford, and now the champions are in town this weekend. As always, we'll have full audio commentary of Everton against Leicester City on evertonfc.com this weekend, and all our social media platforms will keep you bang up to date with everything that's going on at Goodison Park from early Sunday morning. My thanks to the Diamond and to Jan for joining us this week. Good luck to the Last Samurai. Good luck to one for Arthur in the Grand National. We'll see you next week for another Everton show.